The standoff lasted 18 hours. During that time, more alien fleets arrived from across the galaxy. Ships that had been traveling for weeks to reach the gate system came out of hyperspace to find a crisis beyond their worst fears. The space around the gate became crowded with vessels from dozens of different species, all maintaining careful distances from both the gate and each other. Captain Burke found herself in an impossible situation. Earth's government had sent clear instructions. Through their last communication, they wanted detailed information about the gate system and any alien technology that could benefit humanity. But the aliens had made their position equally clear. Any attempt to approach the gate would result in what they called purification. The breakthrough in understanding came from Communications Officer Nina Rodriguez. She had been monitoring alien transmissions for hours, trying to learn more about their capabilities and intentions. What she discovered changed everything. "Captain," Nina reported during a briefing, "I've been analyzing the patterns in their communications. The aliens aren't just trying to keep us away from the gate, they're trying to keep the gate away from us." Dr. Amanda Cross looked up from her scientific readings. "What do you mean?" "Listen to their language patterns," Nina explained. "When they talk about the gate, they use words that suggest fear and reverence. They're not just protecting territory. They're protecting something they're afraid of." Dr. Jake Morrison had been studying the historical records that came with the alien warning messages. The data told a story that was both fascinating and terrifying. "The architects weren't just advanced builders," he reported. "According to these records, they were reality engineers. They could manipulate space and time itself. The gate network was just one of their projects," Jake continued. "They also built structures that could move stars, create artificial dimensions, and apparently do things that the current alien species don't even have words for." Engineer Carlos Mendez had spent the time analyzing the interaction between their ship's quantum drives and the gate structure. His findings were disturbing. "Captain, our technology doesn't just resonate with the gate, it completes it. The architects built this system to work with quantum drive technology, but they never finished the connection protocol." "Are you saying the gates are incomplete?" Captain Burke asked. "I'm saying they're waiting for someone with the right technology to activate them properly," Carlos replied. "The aliens have been using them like tools they found in an old shed. They know which buttons to push to make them work, but they don't understand the machine itself." Dr. Cross had been studying the mathematical principles underlying both human quantum technology and the gate network. Her analysis revealed something remarkable. "Captain, I think I know why our technology is so compatible with the gates. Human physics developed independently, but we reached the same conclusions the architects did about how reality works at the quantum level. The aliens developed different approaches," she continued. "They learned to manipulate matter and energy through biological and crystalline methods, but humans developed pure mathematical approaches that mirror architect thinking. The tension increased when long-range sensors detected something new. A massive fleet was approaching the system from the direction of the galactic core. These ships were larger than anything they had seen so far, and their energy signatures were off the charts. "Who are they?" Commander Pete Walsh asked, studying the tactical displays. Communications Officer Rodriguez worked frantically to intercept their transmissions. "I'm getting partial translations. They call themselves the Eldest. According to the other aliens, they're the oldest surviving species in the galaxy." The Eldest fleet took position at the edge of the system and immediately began broadcasting on all frequencies. Their message was directed specifically at the human ship. "Young builders of quantum fire," the transmission began. "You walk the path of the architects with tools they left for you to find. The others fear what you might become, but we remember what the architects were before they transcended. Do not let fear guide your choices." This message caused panic among the other alien fleets. Several smaller groups immediately jumped to hyperspace and fled the system. The remaining ships moved into more aggressive formations, but they were clearly divided about what to do. Admiral Zexathera of the Crystalline Empire sent another warning to the horizon. The eldest speak of things best left forgotten. Their words carry poison that destroyed civilizations. Do not listen to their promises of transcendence. But the damage was done. The word transcendence had revealed what the aliens had been hiding. The architects had not been destroyed by their technology. They had used it to evolve beyond physical existence, leaving their gate network behind as a test for whoever came after them. Dr. Cross realized the full implications first. The Great Catastrophe wasn't an accident. It was a test. The Seekers failed because they tried to destroy the network instead of completing it. The 17 destroyed star systems were the result of that failure. So the aliens have been protecting the galaxy from another test? Captain Burke asked. They've been protecting themselves from having to take the test, Amanda corrected. They're afraid that if someone completes the network, they'll be forced to evolve or be left behind. The crisis point came when the largest of the alien fleets, belonging to the Dark Confederation, began moving toward the horizon. Their ships charged weapons that could vaporize the human vessel in seconds. They're not going to let us leave, Commander Walsh reported. If we can't approach the gate and we can't retreat, then they plan to destroy us here. Engineer Mendez monitored his quantum drive readings with growing excitement and terror. Captain, the gate is responding more strongly to our presence every minute. I think it's trying to establish a permanent connection with our ship. What would happen if we let it? Captain Burke asked. Honestly, I don't know, Carlos admitted. But based on what we've learned about the architects, I think it would activate the entire network simultaneously. Every gate in the galaxy would come online at once. That's what the aliens are afraid of, Dr. Cross added. Full network activation would force every species in the galaxy to make the same choice the architects made. Evolve or perish. Captain Burke looked around the bridge, at her crew. They were facing a decision that would affect not just humanity, but every intelligent species in the galaxy. The aliens wanted to maintain the status quo, using the gates carefully and limiting their power, but the gates themselves seemed to be calling for completion of their original purpose. Captain, Commander Walsh said quietly, the Dark Confederation. Ships are powering up weapons. Whatever we're going to do, we need to decide now. Through the main viewing window, they could see the gate structure pulsing with increasing energy. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. A doorway to possibilities that no one fully understood. Dr. Cross, Captain Burke said, if we activate the network, what are the chances that humanity survives the experience? Amanda looked at her readings one final time. I think that depends on whether we're ready to become something more than human. Just like the architects did. The dark ships were almost in weapons range. Time was running out for humanity's first and possibly last choice as a galactic species. The joint alien message arrived 12 hours after Captain Burke's first transmission. It came through all communication channels at once, translated into dozens of languages, including several Earth languages that humans had never shared with anyone. The aliens had been studying humanity longer than anyone realized. Admiral Zexathara of the Crystalline Empire spoke for what they called the Gate Consortium. Her voice came through the ship's speakers like crystal bells ringing in a cathedral, beautiful but cold enough to freeze blood. Primitive species designation human, the message began. Your presence in this sacred space violates ancient protocols established before your world learned to support life. The Gateway Network contains forces beyond your comprehension. You lack the evolutionary wisdom necessary to approach these structures safely. Dr. Amanda Cross listened to the full message with growing concern. The aliens were not just telling humans to leave. They were explaining why humanity was too dangerous to be allowed near the gate. Your species shows the same reckless curiosity that led to the Great Catastrophe 3 millennia ago, Admiral Zexathara continued. Your quantum technology resonates with frequencies that should remain dormant. The last time such resonance occurred, 17 star systems were consumed by unleashed energies. Captain Burke called an emergency meeting with all senior officers. The ship's conference room felt cramped as everyone tried to process what they had learned. The aliens were not just gatekeepers. They were survivors of something terrible that had happened when someone had tried to fully activate the gate network. "They're scared of us specifically," Dr. Cross said, studying her tablet. "Not just scared of primitive species in general, scared of humans and our technology." Commander Pete Walsh pulled up tactical displays showing the alien fleet positions. The formations had changed since the warning message. Instead of pointing their weapons at the horizon, many ships had turned to face the gate itself. "Look at this," Walsh said. "They're not just protecting the gate from us anymore. They're protecting themselves from what might happen if we get too close to it." Engineer Carlos Mendez had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now he spoke, up with worry in his voice. "Captain, I need to tell you something. Ever since we arrived here, our quantum drives have been acting strange. They're resonating with something, probably the gate structure." "What kind of resonance?" Captain Burke asked. "It's like our engines are trying to sync up with the gate's power system," Carlos explained. "I've been running diagnostics for hours, and I keep getting the same results. Our technology is compatible with theirs in ways that shouldn't be possible." Dr. Jake Morrison had been studying the historical data that came with the alien warning. "Captain, they've sent us records of what they call the Great Catastrophe. According to this, a species called the Seekers tried to modify the gate network about 3,000 years ago." "What happened to them?" Captain Burke asked. "They were completely destroyed," Jake said grimly. "Not just their ships or their colonies. Their entire species was wiped out, along with 16 other species that were in nearby star systems when the gates overloaded." The room fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. The aliens were not being unreasonably cautious. They had seen what happened when someone tried to unlock the gate network's full potential. But Dr. Cross had found something troubling in the alien records. "There's something they're not telling us," she said. "According to their own data, the Seekers didn't just try to modify the gates. They tried to shut them down completely." "Why would they want to do that?" Commander Walsh asked. "Because they discovered something about the architects," Amanda replied. "Something that scared them enough to try destroying the entire network rather than let it continue operating." Communications Officer Nina Rodriguez interrupted the meeting with an urgent report. "Captain, I'm detecting new transmissions from the gate structure itself. It's not coming from any of the alien ships." Everyone rushed to the bridge. On the main screen, the gate was more active than it had been since their arrival. Energy was flowing across its surface in complex patterns, and the massive ring structure was rotating faster. "It's responding to us," Carlos said, checking his engineering readouts. "Our quantum drives are definitely causing some kind of reaction in the gate system." Dr. Cross ran to her science station and began analyzing the new energy patterns. What she found made her heart race with excitement and terror. "The gate is trying to establish a connection, not just to one destination, but to multiple points across the galaxy simultaneously." "Is that normal?" Captain Burke asked. "According to the alien records, no," Amanda replied. "They use the gates for single-point transportation. One origin, one destination. But this looks like the gate is trying to create a network connection that would link dozens of systems at once." Jake studied the patterns more closely. "Amanda, these energy signatures look familiar. They're similar to the theoretical models we developed for creating stable wormhole networks. The truth hit them all at the same time. Human scientists had been working toward the same goals as the architects. The mathematical principles underlying human quantum drive technology were not just compatible with the gate system. They were an evolution of the same theoretical framework." Admiral Zexathara's voice came through the communication system again, but this time she sounded frightened rather than commanding. "Human vessel, cease all quantum drive operations immediately. Your technology is triggering responses in the gateway that have been dormant for millennia, but it was too late. The gate was fully active now, and alien ships throughout the system were beginning to retreat. The dark, angular vessels of the Confederation were the first to pull back, followed quickly by the shape-shifting ships of the Dancer Collective. "Captain," Commander Walsh reported, "the alien fleets are withdrawing to minimum safe distance. Some of the smaller ships are jumping to hyperspace and leaving the system entirely." Dr. Cross watched her instruments as the gate's activity continued to increase. "The network is coming online. All of it. Gates throughout the galaxy are beginning to activate in sequence." "What does that mean for us?" Captain Burke asked. "It means we've done exactly what the aliens have been preventing for 3,000 years," Amanda replied. "We've awakened the complete gate network, and we have no idea what's going to happen next." The horizon shook as waves of energy pulsed out from the gate structure. The ship's quantum drives resonated more strongly with each pulse, creating harmonics that could be felt throughout the vessel. Carlos checked his engineering displays with growing alarm. "Captain, our drives are synchronizing completely with the gate. I don't think I can shut them down anymore. The connection is too strong." Through the viewing window, they could see the gate structure beginning to change. Parts of it that had seemed solid were becoming transparent, revealing complex internal mechanisms that had been hidden for millions of years. "It's beautiful," Nina whispered from her communications station. "It's terrifying," Commander Walsh corrected. Captain Burke knew she had to make a decision. The aliens were retreating because they knew something terrible might happen, but the gate was calling to humanity in ways that went beyond mere technology. It was as if the architects had left it specifically for a species like humans to find. "Dr. Cross," the captain said, "in your professional opinion, what happens if we continue on our current course?" Amanda looked at her readings one more time before answering. "Honestly, Captain, I think we're about to find out what happened to the architects, and whether humanity is ready to face the same test they failed." 3 weeks later, the horizon reached the edge of the gate system. Captain Burke ordered the ship to stop at what she hoped was a safe distance from both the massive ring structure and the alien fleets surrounding it. Through the main viewing window, the crew could see something that took their breath away. The gate was enormous beyond imagination. Even from millions of miles away, it dominated the view like a second sun. The ring structure rotated slowly, and energy danced across, its surface in patterns of blue and gold light. But what made everyone on the bridge fall silent were the hundreds of alien ships positioned around it. "My God," whispered Commander Pete Walsh, staring at the tactical display. "There are so many of them." Dr. Amanda Cross counted at least 6 major groups of ships, each keeping separate from the others. The largest fleet belonged to what looked like living vessels. These ships seemed to be grown rather than built, with smooth curves and surfaces that pulsed with soft light. They were beautiful in an alien way that made humans feel small and primitive. Another group consisted of dark, angular ships that looked like flying weapons. These vessels had sharp edges and no curves at all. They absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making them appear as black holes against the stars. Even from a distance, they radiated menace and power. A third fleet was the strangest of all. Their ships seemed to change shape as Amanda watched them through the telescope. Sometimes they looked like spheres, other times like pyramids or long tubes. It was impossible to tell what their true form might be. "Captain," said Communications Officer Nina Rodriguez from her station, "we're receiving multiple transmissions, different frequencies, different languages. The computer is trying to translate, but it's going to take time." Captain Burke nodded. "Put it on speaker as soon as you have anything we can understand." The bridge filled with strange sounds. Some transmissions sounded like music, others like grinding metal or flowing water. The ship's artificial intelligence worked frantically to find patterns and meaning in the alien languages. Dr. Jake Morrison, who had joined Amanda at the science station, pointed to his screen. "Amanda, look at this. The ships aren't random positions. They're in some kind of formation." Amanda studied the data. You're right. Each group is staying within specific boundaries. It's like they've divided the space around the gate into territories. But notice what they're not doing, Jake added. None of them are approaching the gate itself. They're all keeping the same minimum distance from it. Commander Walsh pulled up detailed scans of the alien formations. These are definitely military positions. Each fleet is ready to fight, but they're also ready to defend. It's like they're all waiting for someone to make the first move. After several hours, Communications Officer Rodriguez finally had something to report. Captain, I have partial translations coming through. The aliens are definitely talking to each other, but they're not being friendly about it. The first clear message came through in broken English that the computer had pieced together from multiple transmissions. The voice was mechanical and cold, clearly artificial rather than biological. Crystalline Empire claims prior access rights. Based on Treaty of Seven Suns signed 4,000 rotations ago, the translation said. Dark Fleet presence violates established protocols. Withdraw immediately or face consequences. Another voice responded, this one sounding like rocks grinding together. Dark Confederation recognizes no treaty signed by Crystal Singers. Our claim predates yours by 2 millennia. Gate usage determined by strength, not words on dead metal. A third voice joined in, musical and flowing like water. Shape Dancer Collective proposes neutral arbitration. Ancient pathways belong to all children of galaxy. Fighting serves no purpose when greater mysteries await exploration. Dr. Cross listened to the ongoing argument with growing excitement. Captain, do you understand what this means? None of these species built the gate. They're all arguing over who gets to use something that was left behind by someone else. The transmissions continued for hours. The aliens argued about treaties, territorial claims, historical precedents, and usage rights. But through all their arguments, one thing became clear. The gate system was ancient beyond measure, built by a civilization that had vanished long before any of the current species had reached the stars. They call the builders the architects, Amanda reported after analyzing hours of alien chatter. But no one seems to know what happened to them. The gate network just appeared one day, already functioning, and various species have been fighting over access ever since. Jake made another discovery while studying the gate's energy patterns. Amanda, look at these mathematical structures underlying the gate's operation. Do these equations look familiar to you? Amanda studied the data and gasped. These are based on the same principles we use for our quantum drives. The math is more advanced than ours, but it's following the same theoretical framework. What does that mean? Captain Burke asked. It means that whoever built this gate was thinking about physics the same way humans think about physics, Amanda explained. The aliens have been using this technology for thousands of years, but they might not understand how it actually works. They're just following procedures passed down from generation to generation. This revelation was interrupted by a new development. The alien fleets had noticed the small human ship sitting at the edge of their territory. For the first time since arriving at the gate, all 6 alien factions stopped arguing with each other and focused their attention on the newcomers. Captain, Commander Walsh reported with tension in his voice, all alien vessels are turning to face us. I'm reading massive energy buildups across their fleets. The first direct communication came from the largest of the crystal ships. The voice was beautiful, but cold, like singing ice. Unknown vessel, you are trespassing in restricted space. Identify your species and state your purpose. Captain Burke took a deep breath. This was humanity's first official contact with alien. Intelligence and the entire future of Earth might depend on what she said next. This is Captain Lisa Burke of the Earth vessel Horizon, she transmitted on all frequencies. We are explorers from the human species. We detected this structure and came to investigate. We mean no harm to anyone. The response was immediate and unified. For the first time in what appeared to be centuries, all 6 alien factions agreed on something. Their message was clear and threatening. Human vessel, you are forbidden to approach the gate structure. Your species lacks the maturity and wisdom to comprehend the forces contained within the ancient pathways. Depart immediately or face purification. Dr. Cross studied the alien fleet movements on her screen. Captain, they're not just trying to keep us away from the gate. Look at their positions. They're protecting something. Commander Walsh confirmed her observation. All fleets are moving into defensive formations around the gate, but they're not defending it from us. They're defending themselves from it. The implications hit everyone on the bridge at the same time. The aliens weren't just controlling access to the gate network. They were preventing anyone from fully activating it. For thousands of years, they had been using only a fraction of its true power, and they were terrified of what might happen if someone unlocked its complete potential. Captain, Amanda said quietly, I think we just found out why the architects disappeared. And I think the aliens are afraid we might figure out how to avoid the same fate. Dr. Amanda Cross rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the computer screen again. She had been working for 16 hours straight at the Deep Space Observatory, but what she saw made her forget all about being tired. The numbers on her screen showed something that should not exist. 3 days ago, the space telescopes had found something strange. Very strange. It was a huge ring floating in space around a dead star. The ring was as big as Earth's moon, but it was not natural. Someone had built it. The ring had perfect geometric shapes and patterns that no natural force could create. Amanda's hands shook as she typed commands into her computer. The more data she collected, the more impossible it seemed. The ring was not just sitting there in space. It was doing something to space itself. The area around the ring was bent and twisted in ways that hurt her brain to think about. Jake, come here right now, Amanda called to her friend Dr. Jake Morrison. He was sitting at another computer nearby, looking at star maps. You have to see this. Jake walked over and looked at Amanda's screen. His face went pale. What am I looking at? A gateway, Amanda said quietly. It's making holes in space. Wormholes. It can connect to other parts of the galaxy instantly. Jake sat down hard in a chair. That's impossible. We can barely travel to the next star system. Who could build something like this? Amanda pointed to another part of her screen. That's not the worst part. Look at this. The screen showed several groups of ships moving toward the ring from different directions. The ships were clearly not human. They were too big, too strange, and moving in ways that human ships could not move. Aliens, Jake whispered. Multiple species, Amanda said. At least 6 different types of ships. And Jake, these are not exploration ships. Look at the formation patterns. These are war fleets. Jake studied the data more carefully. Each group of alien ships was different. Some ships looked like they were made of crystal and glowed with their own light. Others were dark and angular, looking like weapons floating in space. A third group had ships that seemed to change shape as they moved. They're all heading for the ring, Jake said. But they're not working together. Each group is staying separate from the others. Amanda nodded. I think they're fighting over it. Or maybe they're all afraid of it. Either way, we need to tell Earth about this immediately. Within hours, their report reached the Earth Science Council. The message was simple but shocking. Humanity had discovered an ancient transportation network that connected the entire galaxy. Alien civilizations had been using it for thousands of years, and now all of them were gathering at one location for reasons unknown. Captain Lisa Burke received the emergency message while her ship, the Horizon, was completing a routine survey mission near the edge of human space. The message was marked, with the highest priority codes possible. All crew to stations, Captain Burke announced over the ship's communication system. We have new orders from Earth. The Horizon was one of Earth's newest exploration ships. It was fast, well-armed, and equipped with the latest technology humans had developed. But compared to what Amanda's telescopes had detected, it was like, a wooden boat in an ocean of steel warships. Dr. Amanda Cross had been ordered to join the mission as the lead scientist. She arrived at the space station where the Horizon was docked, carrying several cases of equipment and a worried expression. "Captain Burke," Amanda said as she came aboard, "I need you to understand what we're dealing with. This gate structure is beyond anything we've ever seen. The energy readings alone suggest it could destroy our entire solar system if something goes wrong." Captain Burke was a veteran of 3 deep space missions. She had seen strange things in the dark between stars, but nothing had prepared her for this. "Dr. Cross, are you saying this thing is dangerous?" "I'm saying it's powerful beyond our ability to measure," Amanda replied. "But Captain, there's something else. I've been studying the mathematical principles behind the gate's construction. Whoever built this was thinking about physics the same way we do." The captain raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" "It means that while the aliens have been using this technology for thousands of years, they might not understand it as well as we could," Amanda explained. "They're using tools left behind by someone else. We might be able to figure out how it actually works." Commander Pete Walsh, the ship's military officer, joined the conversation. "Captain, Earth's orders are clear. We need to reach that gate before the alien fleets can prevent us from studying it. Our intelligence suggests they don't like sharing." The Horizon left Earth's space carrying humanity's hopes and fears. The journey would take 3 weeks at maximum speed. During that time, Amanda and her team studied every piece of data they could gather about the gate and the alien ships surrounding it. The more they learned, the more questions arose. The gate was clearly ancient, probably millions of years old. But it was still active and apparently maintaining itself. The alien ships were keeping a careful distance from it, which suggested they either respected it or feared it. "Dr. Cross," Jake said during one of their daily meetings, "I've been thinking about the energy signatures we detected. The gate isn't just opening doorways to other places. It's choosing where those doorways lead." Amanda looked up from her calculations. "What do you mean, choosing?" "The gate is intelligent," Jake said. "Or at least it has some kind of artificial mind controlling it. It's not just a passive tool. It's making decisions about who can use it and where they can go." This revelation changed everything. If the gate could think, then approaching it was not just a matter of technology and politics. It was also a matter of first contact with an artificial intelligence that was older than human civilization. As the Horizon traveled through space toward the gate, Amanda spent her time trying to understand what they might find when they arrived. The alien fleets were already in position around the structure. Some had been there for weeks, others for only days. But none of them were trying to use the gate. They were all just waiting. "Waiting for what?" Captain Burke asked when Amanda shared this observation. "I think they're waiting for permission," Amanda said. "Or maybe they're waiting to see what happens when someone else tries to use it first." The final week of the journey was tense. Long-range sensors showed that more alien ships were arriving at the gate location every day. By the time the Horizon would reach the area, there would be hundreds of alien vessels from dozens of different species all gathered in one place. "Captain," Commander Walsh said during a strategy meeting, "we're going to be outnumbered by about 1,000 to 1. If shooting starts, we won't last 5 minutes." Captain Burke studied the tactical displays showing the alien fleet positions. "Then we better make sure shooting doesn't start. Our mission is to gather information and make contact. We're not there to fight a war." But as the Horizon approached its destination, everyone aboard knew that the choices they made in the next few days would determine humanity's future among the stars. They were about to enter a situation that no human had ever faced before, carrying technology that might be humanity's greatest advantage or its final mistake. Commander Veltar stared at Jake with confusion written across his crystal features. "You learn not to fight each other? But you are clearly the most effective warriors in the galaxy. Why would you stop using such power?" Jake walked to the center of the room, and looked around at all the alien faces watching him. Because we finally understood the cost. Colonel Beth Williams stepped forward from where she had been standing quietly near the door. She was a tall woman with short black hair and calm eyes. "I'm Colonel Williams, Earth's military attaché to the Galactic Federation. Maybe I can explain what Jake means." She activated another holographic display, but this one was different from the others. Instead of showing battles and explosions, it showed cities being rebuilt, hospitals being constructed, and children playing in parks. "After our last great war, humans made a choice," Colonel Williams said. "We decided that our ability to organize and coordinate large operations was too dangerous to use against each other." The hologram showed images of humans working together on massive projects, building space stations, constructing cities, exploring other planets. The same organizational skills that had made human warfare so devastating were now being used for peaceful purposes. "We created international laws," Colonel Williams continued. "We built organizations dedicated to preventing wars before they could start. We developed ways to solve disputes without fighting." Commander Veltar's crystal skin flickered between colors as he processed this information. "But surely there have been conflicts since then? No species simply stops fighting." "You're right," Jake said. "There have been conflicts, but we handle them differently now." Dr. Foster brought up new images on the holographic display. These showed small groups of human soldiers, but they weren't fighting large battles. Instead, they were helping civilians, providing medical aid, and keeping peace between other groups. Modern human military doctrine focuses on precision and minimal casualties, Dr. Foster explained. "When we must use force, we use as little as possible to achieve our goals." Jake pointed to one of the images. "This operation happened last year. A small group of extremists had taken control of a city and were threatening to kill thousands of civilians. In the old days, we might have bombed the entire city to stop them." "What did you do instead?" asked a small Coltan, leaning forward with interest. "We sent in 12 soldiers," Jake replied. "They used non-lethal weapons, precise tactics, and careful planning. The operation took 6 hours. All the civilians were saved. Most of the extremists survived and were captured." The aliens looked amazed. Crixdan's black crystal skin was starting to show hints of deep blue. 12 soldiers accomplished what once required thousands? "Experience," Colonel Williams said simply. "We learned how to be effective without being destructive. We learned that true strength isn't about how much damage you can do, but about how little damage you need to do to achieve your goals." Commander Veltar was pacing now, his crystal skin shifting rapidly between purple and gold. "This makes no sense. You possess the greatest military capability in the galaxy, but you choose not to use it?" "Not exactly," Jake said. "We use our capability differently now. Instead of using it to fight wars, we use it to prevent them." The holographic display changed again to show a map of Earth. Red dots appeared in various locations, but these weren't battle sites. They were places where human peacekeeping forces were stationed. "Humans now serve as peacekeepers in conflicts around the galaxy," Colonel Williams explained. "When other species have disputes that might lead to war, they ask us to help resolve them." "Why do they ask humans?" asked a Mentari. Jake smiled. "Because everyone knows what happens when humans go to war. No one wants to fight us, so they're willing to listen when we suggest peaceful solutions." Admiral Carter stepped forward. "The Galactic Federation asked Earth to join, not because they wanted us to fight for them, but because they wanted us to help prevent fights from happening." Commander Veltar stopped pacing. His crystal skin had settled into a steady purple glow. "You use the fear of your military power to maintain peace?" "Partly," Jake said, "but mostly we use something more important. We use the knowledge we gained from all those wars." Dr. Foster brought up a new display showing statistics about conflict resolution. In the 50 years since humans joined galactic civilization, the number of interstellar wars has dropped by 90%. The number of deaths from military conflicts has dropped by 95%. How? Crixdan asked. His crystal skin was now showing streaks of bright yellow, which indicated intense curiosity. We teach other species what we learned, Jake replied. We show them how to organize their societies to prevent conflicts. We help them develop diplomatic solutions to their problems. We share the lessons we bought with millions of lives. Colonel Williams activated another part of the display. Every year, we train thousands of alien diplomats, peacekeepers, and conflict resolution specialists. We teach them the same skills. We once used to wage war, but now we use those skills to build peace. The aliens were beginning to look less frightened and more thoughtful. Their skin colors were shifting to brighter, more curious shades. There's something else, Jake said quietly. All those numbers you heard today, all those millions of deaths I was involved in, they haunt every human who served in those wars. We remember every battle, every operation, every decision that led to someone dying. He paused and looked directly at Commander Veltar. That's why we don't keep kill counts anymore. That's why we don't celebrate military victories the way other species do. Because we know the real cost of war, and we never want to pay that price again. Dr. Foster showed images of human veterans, including Jake, visiting schools and teaching young people about the horrors of war. We make sure every new generation understands what we learned. We tell them the stories so they won't repeat our mistakes. Commander Veltar was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was filled with something that sounded like respect. You became the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy, and then you chose to stop being warriors. We became something better, Jake said. We became teachers, peacekeepers, and healers. We learned to use our organizational skills to build instead of destroy. Crixdan stepped forward. His crystal skin was now glowing with bright gold streaks. In Zephyrian culture, this indicated deep respect and admiration. Jake Morrison, I asked for your kill count to measure your worth as a warrior, but I understand now that your greatest victory was not any battle you fought. What was it? Jake asked. Your greatest victory was learning when to stop fighting, Crixdan replied. Commander Veltar walked up to Jake and placed his hand over his heart in a gesture of profound respect. The Galactic Federation would be honored to have humans as our allies. Not because of your ability to wage war, but because of your wisdom in choosing peace. He turned to address all the humans in the room. We came here today expecting to find warriors. Instead, we found something much more valuable. We found teachers who can show us how to build a better galaxy. Admiral Carter smiled. That's all we've ever wanted to be? Jake looked out the window at the alien ships and the stars beyond. For the first time in many years, he felt proud of what he had accomplished. Not the battles he had won, or the enemies he had defeated, but the peace he had helped to build. The war is over, he said quietly. Now comes the harder job of keeping it that way. Commander Veltar's crystal skin pulsed with warm purple light. Then let us begin. As the meeting ended and the aliens prepared to return to their ships, Jake remained by the window. He thought about all the young soldiers who would never have to see the things he had seen, all the battles that would never be fought, all the lives that would never be lost. It had taken humanity thousands of years and millions of deaths to learn the value of peace. But they had learned it, and now they could teach others. Jake Morrison, the man with the highest kill count in Galactic history, had finally found his most important mission, making sure that no one would ever need to match his record again. The 300 human ships came out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Space around them flashed with bright light as each ship appeared. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the USS Freedom and looked at what was waiting for them. It was worse than she had imagined. The alien fleet was huge. She counted over 400 ships now, much more than Jake Morrison had first reported. The enemy had brought reinforcements. Worse, The aliens had formed a perfect sphere around the Zenthari planet. Every escape route was blocked. "My God," whispered Commander Davis. "Look at the size of those ships." The alien vessels were massive. The smallest ones were twice as big as human destroyers. The largest ones looked like floating cities. They had a strange organic shape, like giant sea creatures made of crystal and metal. Energy flowed through tubes along their surfaces like blood through veins. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from Captain Morrison," said the communications officer. Jake Morrison's tired face appeared on the main screen. He looked like he had not slept in days. Behind him, smoke filled the bridge of the HMS Defender. "Admiral Carter, thank God you are here. The situation is bad. These aliens, they call themselves the Vexhai. We captured some data from a damaged ship. They consume entire civilizations. They eat planets and use the energy to grow more ships." Lisa felt cold. "How many Zenthari are left?" "Maybe 2 million on the planet's surface. The orbital cities are gone. Most of the fleet is destroyed. We have been running rescue missions, but the aliens keep bombing the evacuation sites." "Understood, Captain. Good work. Now let us finish this." Lisa turned to her tactical officers. The situation was clear. The human fleet was outnumbered, but they had advantages. Human ships were faster and more maneuverable. More importantly, humans could think independently while the aliens seemed to move like a hive mind. "All ships, this is Admiral Carter. We are going to execute Operation Thunderstrike. Battle Group Alpha will attack the alien fleet head-on to draw their attention. Battle Group Beta will move around the asteroid belt and hit them from the side. Battle Group Gamma will focus on rescue operations. Questions?" The responses came quickly from the fleet commanders. "Alpha ready. Beta ready. Gamma ready. Execute." The human fleet split into 3 groups. Commander Ryan Davis led Battle Group Alpha straight toward the alien formation. His group had the big battleships and heavy cruisers. Their job was to make noise and get the aliens angry. "All ships, maximum speed," Ryan ordered. "Let them know we are here." 100 human warships charged directly at the alien fleet. Their weapons powered up and their engines blazed with blue fire. The aliens noticed immediately. The organic ships began turning to face the human attack. Ryan smiled grimly. "That's right, look at us. Ignore everything else." The first shots were fired when the fleets were still far apart. Alien energy beams reached across space like deadly fingers. The beams were powerful, but they moved slowly. Human ships dodged and weaved between them. "Return fire," Ryan commanded. Human missiles and plasma cannons lit up space. The weapons moved much faster than alien beams. They struck the organic ships and caused explosions of green fire. But the alien ships began healing themselves, growing new armor to replace what was damaged. "Sir, their ships are repairing themselves," reported his tactical officer. "Then we hit them harder," Ryan replied. "All ships focus fire on single targets. Do not let them heal." Meanwhile, Captain Maria Santos was leading Battle Group Beta on a secret mission. Her ships were moving quietly through the asteroid belt. On the far side of the system, her group had the fast cruisers and stealth ships. "Keep the engines low," Maria ordered. "We need to stay hidden until we are in position." Her ships moved like ghosts between the floating rocks. The asteroids blocked them from alien sensors. It was dangerous flying, but Maria was an expert pilot. She had flown through asteroid fields many times before. "Captain, we are almost in position," said her navigator. "The alien command ships are 2 million kilometers ahead." Maria studied her tactical display. The aliens had put their largest ships in the center of their formation. Those ships were coordinating the entire fleet. If she could damage them, the alien hive mind would be confused. "All ships, prepare for attack run. Target the big ships only. We get one chance at surprise." On the other side of the system, Colonel Alex Turner was leading the rescue operation. His group had the medical ships, transports, and marine landing craft. Their job was the hardest because they had to get close to the planet while a battle raged overhead. USS Hope, USS Mercy. Stay back until we clear a path, Alex ordered. Marines, prepare for emergency landings. We need to evacuate as many Xanthari as possible. Alex's ship, the USS Ranger, led a group of destroyers toward the planet. They flew fast and low, dodging alien fire. Several ships were hit, but they kept flying. Sir, I have located a large group of Xanthari survivors, reported his scanner. Officer. They are in a city on the northern continent. Take us down, Alex ordered. The USS Ranger dropped through the planet's atmosphere. Below them, the surface was a nightmare. Cities burned with green fire. Forests were turned to ash. Rivers boiled from alien weapons. But in one valley, Alex could see lights. Xanthari survivors were hiding in underground shelters. Back in space, the battle was getting intense. Commander Davis and his ships were fighting hard against the main alien fleet. Human ships darted between the massive alien vessels like angry wasps. They fired constantly, but the aliens kept healing their damage. Admiral, we are taking heavy casualties, Ryan reported to Lisa. The USS Lightning is destroyed. The USS Thunder has lost engines. Hold your position, Commander. Beta Group is almost ready. At that moment, Captain Santos struck. Her ships came out of the asteroid belt like arrows from a bow. They appeared suddenly behind the alien fleet and opened fire on the command ships. Surprise, Maria said as her weapons fired. The alien command ships were not ready for an attack from behind. Human missiles slammed into their organic hulls. Explosions rippled through the massive vessels. Green fluid leaked from wounds in their sides. Most importantly, the attack confused the alien hive mind. Ships that had been moving in perfect coordination suddenly began flying in random directions. Some aliens stopped fighting completely. Others attacked their own ships by mistake. It is working, Lisa said from the USS Freedom. The hive mind is breaking down. But the aliens were learning. After a few minutes of chaos, they began to adapt. The command ships started healing their damage. New coordination signals went out to the fleet. All groups, press the attack now while they are confused, Lisa ordered. This is our chance. The 3 human battle groups attacked with everything they had. Ships that had been holding back now joined the fight. The space around the Xanthari planet became a maze of laser fire, explosions, and burning ships. On the planet's surface, Colonel Turner's Marines were loading Xanthari civilians onto transport ships. The aliens were tall and thin with silver skin. Many were wounded. All were scared. How many more? Alex asked his medical officer. At least 50,000 in this area alone, sir. But there are alien landing troops coming. We need to hurry. Above them, the battle raged on. Human ships fought desperately against an enemy that seemed to grow stronger with each passing minute. But humanity had one advantage the aliens did not expect. Humans never gave up.